So help me welcome back to the stage, Mr. Eric Worre.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Val. All right. How you doing? Everybody okay? Show me some hands if you're all right. I don't know what time it is wherever you're at in the world, but I got to tell you, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with your focus. I'm impressed with your determination. I'm impressed with your desire to change your life. This is your time. This is your moment. And in this session, over the course of the next 2 hours, by the time we're done, next hour and a half, my intention is to show each of you how you can be an all-star, how you can be an all-star to your family, an all-star for your team, an all-star for your company, an all-star for the network marketing profession, an all-star to anybody that you come into contact with. When they think about you, they think about an all-star, where you are not only thought of, but you are recognized around the world as world-class, one of the best. If you can see yourself being an all-star, raise your hands, please. If you can see it, raise your hands. If you can see yourself being an all-star, come on, I want to see it. All right, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I have a great group of friends that are going to share some all-star insights with you. These people are amazing. They all started from one level. They're all sitting in the chair that you're sitting in right now, trying to figure their life out. And they changed everything. If I had to add up the total income from this panel, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 total. So let me just count for a second. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These 6 this year, 2020, will make approximately $20 million. These 6 will make approximately $20 million in total. So huge, huge income, but they all started where you're sitting right now. They all were not quite clear how their life was going to change, but an opportunity presented itself. They stepped into it, and everything changed. All right? So please help me welcome to the stage the first one of our all-stars, Stefania Legato-Fire. Come on out, Stefania. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come sit by me, or wherever you like. Next, please welcome Mr. John Haremza. John, come on out. Good to see you, John. Next, welcome to the stage, Ricky and Francoise Untermeyer. Come on out, guys. Good to see you. Next, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Alfred Nixon. Come on out, Alfred. Good to see you. Please welcome new $1 Million Hall of Fame members, Tony and Sarah Zalecki. Come on out, everybody. And finally, you saw her earlier today. Welcome back to the stage, Miss Jessie Lee Ward. Come on out, Jessie Lee. Welcome back, welcome back. All right. Well, we've got a powerful group. Let me tell you the purpose of this group. The purpose for all of you is to share. Many of the people watching this want to dream as big as you've dreamed, and that was a process for you to be able to go from where you started to where you are today. And what I would like them to experience through your story is hope that they can do it, belief that they can do it, confidence that they could do it, no matter where they're at. I promise you, there's $1 Million Hall of Fame people sitting all across on these walls and all across the world that right now are struggling. Like all of you were struggling at one point. And then something changed. You turned it around. So let me start with John. I'm going to start with John. John, tell everybody where you were, what happened, and then where you are now, which is a pretty crazy place.
Okay, well, thank you, Eric, and it is just an honor to be a part of this. And I mean, the impact that you have had on this industry of network marketing. I remember 11 years ago in the Courtyard by Marriott with a flip video when we did $1 million interview. Anyway, it's just blows me away of what you've done here and the impact you've had. You know, guys, I grew up in a small town in Minnesota. Right out of high school, I went to work in a potato chip factory. I was a welder. I have dyslexia, and so I really struggled with self-esteem, self-confidence. I was so shy and introverted, I literally wouldn't even say hi to someone unless they said hi to me first. And so my first introduction, a friend invited me to his home. There was a breakdown at the factory that night, and I ended up late. And this is a little town about 2 hours outside of Minneapolis, or 3 hours outside of Minneapolis. And I came 2 hours late. I'm in a hairnet, had hair back then, you know, in a blue uniform, smelling like a potato chip. And I could just see these two suits from Minneapolis saying, we just waited 2 hours to listen to this, or to wait for this guy. And there were 5 of us there that night. And we all were excited, but the next morning I was the only one left excited. There's something that I saw a possibility. Now, my goal wasn't to make the money I've made. My goal was to make some extra money. I couldn't even imagine, I didn't even want to bring anybody into the business because I'm like, why would I want to create my own competition? The first person I sponsored was my brother, and that was because we had made a pact between us that no one else was to know about this. And so that's the way I entered the industry, trying to keep it a secret. So, you know, if you're asking yourself, can you do this? You can absolutely do this. I mean, I was introverted, shy, no self-esteem, no self-confidence, trying to keep it a secret. But I took that first step, and then I took that next step, and I became a student of the industry.
What was the breakthrough?
The breakthrough for me, actually, because, you know, this was a water filter, and we knew each other back then. I wasn't, and I was knocking on doors in December of 1988 trying to sell these filters. And I went to an event in Fargo, and I went up to the presenter after it, and I said, this was unbelievable. I'm going to canvas Fargo and just get a lot of filters out. And he said, you're going to do what? And I said, yeah, I'm going to knock on doors and get these filters out. And he said, I made $203,000 last year. And he said, if you told me I had to knock on doors to do it, I'd have never done it. And he says, who's your upline? And I told him, he says, you're actually in my downline. He brought me up to his room and he showed me the concept of selling the opportunity versus just trying to sell the product. And it was a paradigm shift. A few months later, I went full time. But at that time, all I saw was the product. I didn't see the opportunity to recruit or to sell the opportunity. I was just interested in the product at that time.
You've been one of the best students of the profession that I've seen. How much have you invested in yourself and in your growth and in learning and developing, you know, getting coached, mentored, all that stuff in order to be able to achieve the level of success you're achieving now?
You know, I've thousands and thousands of dollars. One of my very first programs from a personal development standpoint, because that's what network marketing is, right?
Yeah,
it's a
sure.
personal development program with a paycheck. But one of the first programs I bought was Tony Robbins, 30 Days to Ultimate Success. And I remember tape 2. It said, congratulations, you've just made it further than 90% of the people. And you think about all the people, because every single one of you on this stage will testify to the investment in yourself. As Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. I took that to heart. I mean, I became a student. Everywhere I went, you talked about it yesterday, the audio tapes. They were my favorite too. Everywhere I went, I was listening to tapes. And I was investing in those tapes and programs. Zig Ziglar, one of the first live seminars I ever seen. But I don't think you can be successful in this industry without that commitment to personal development.
Yep.
So
Yep. Well, thank you, John. Stefania, you're one of my favorite stories because single mom trying to figure out what she's going to do. I mean, you found your husband inside of this profession. You're a $1 million
My
earner
second
by the
husband.
time you got connected with him. You made your own money. I understand. But
He knows me.
yeah, tell everybody where it started and then what it turned into and how you got there.
So I went through a very tough divorce from the father of my 3 kids. At the time, they were 4, 8, and 12. First, the bank took the cars, then the bank took the house, and then the bank closed my bank account. So I found myself with literally nothing. My parents gave me their 1-bedroom apartment. That was their holiday apartment. So I literally slept with my 3 boys in 1 bed. Which, by the way, today I love that, thinking of that, because it was such a nice time looking back. I was crying myself to sleep. I was not having any breakthrough. I was praying to the Lord to open a door. And for 3 months, I was invited to a network marketing meeting. And I'm saying 3 months because I think all of you need to remember the follow-up. It's important because I'm very glad that somebody followed up on me. And finally, I ended up at the meeting. I remember that I went because of the products. But then I ended up going crazy with the opportunity. And I thought, oh my God, I'm doing network marketing all the time. I just never get paid for it. So I left the meeting thinking, oh, everybody's going to love this just like me. I'm going to rock it. I'm going to be amazing. And I tell everybody, and people are like, oh my goodness, poor you. Now that you lost everything, you also lost your head. Now you're starting one of those schemes. So I was like, okay, so no credibility, of course, because I never worked. I was just a mom. Nobody said yes to me. Not a friend, not a family member. My dad was like telling me, I pay you if you stop thinking that this is going to work. But I kept on going. And guess what? For 2 years, I had no results. I sold some products. I made a very little bit of money, but I had no results. So I was about to quit. And I went to a company event. I saw there who was my upline because nobody, my sponsor quit, everybody quit. Yes, crazy, my sponsor quit. Imagine today how she must feel. And I'm like, okay, guys, you need to help me. And the guy was Daniel, and he said, well, I'm actually going to Las Vegas. You need to meet Eric Worre. He's the best mentor in the world. And I'm like, how to Las Vegas? I have no money. And at the time, we were not together, and he offered me to pay the flight. And I said, no. Because I know what men want back. I said, you can give me the money, but then I'll pay you back. And I went to Eric Worre. He was sitting in the front because he had the 90-day run story, success story. I was sitting at the back. I took a quick picture with you. But that event turned my life around completely. That event, I realized that I was an amateur. I was not a professional, that I didn't believe in the profession. So I went back to my country, and I began to rock. I began to put all the system. I made sure that Eric, I was the one insisting that you would translate GoPro in Italian. Mm-hmm. I was the one because like, I need this book for my team, but Italians don't speak English. So, and we were like working. And I became a child of GoPro. In fact, I love you guys because I grew with the GoPro community, and so many of you just shared love with me. 2 years later, he nominated me a rising star when my check reached 82,000. So imagine, now, this I'm talking about 5 years ago, and now I'm an all-star panel. This is the power of Eric Worre and the most powerful women in network marketing. Marina, everybody, I'm so grateful for you guys. And I'm not just saying it because I'm here. Everybody knows, if you look at my videos, everything, you know that I'm a child of GoPro.
Yeah, congratulations. Such a well done. Between the two of them, I don't know if I can even say how much they make, but it's many millions of dollars a year between the two of them. She makes many millions by herself.
Yes.
On her own business.
But Daniel makes more. I make couple.
Daniel makes a little bit more, but it's okay.
But because he recruited me.
Yes, I understand. He's the upline. That's no problem. Ricky and Francoise, dear friends, talk about where you came from and how you turned this into an all-star experience.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I came from a family where my mom was a single mom. She came from a third world country, from British Guyana. We didn't have much growing up, really. She worked really, really hard, though. She made about $6 an hour, and there was 4 children. So you just think about the life that we had. And so for me, I think just watching how hard she would work and how dedicated she was to our family, just it was so inspiring to me. And so for me, I think sometimes when we first get started in life, we're working to dreams, but sometimes we're living our family's dreams, our parents' dreams. My mom was a CNA, and so she wanted me to become a nurse. And I love taking care of people. I love advocating for people. So I worked really hard, got my RN degree, and by the age of 23, I was a director of nursing. But when I met my amazing husband, obviously that big degree and the running a large department just really wasn't what was rewarding to me anymore. And so I decided, to step down from that, and we made a sacrifice, went down to one income. And just a few months later, the economy crashed, and my husband's 20-year construction company that was very successful, we went broke. We didn't have work for 2 years, and it was hard. We lost everything except for our home. And so, it really was a defining moment for us, to just change things, be better stewards of our finances. I mean, boats were repossessed. We didn't even want to go to the front door because we didn't know what they were taking next. It was a very, very dark time, but we learned a lot. And, we started to build back, of course, in a couple of years. By the grace of God, we were in a good position, and we started diversifying, looking for other opportunities. And a girlfriend of mine, she introduced me to network marketing. She was encouraging me to take a look, which was funny because I think it was a moment of desperation because she must have asked me for 7 years. So follow-up is very important, right? But it was that moment for me. And there was that moment in time where I was open and I had eyes to see. So I sat down. I actually was alone, but I just caught it. I just saw it. It just surprisingly, it was like an image that you look at. I don't know if you remember those images that had all the little dots, right? Do you remember that? And then when you look at it, the 3D image just pops right out to you. That's what happened. I was like, this is amazing. And she had everything I wanted. She'd be home with her kids. She worked her business in her yoga pants. I'm like, that's what I want. And so I came home and told Ricky. I was so excited. And unfortunately, he just didn't see the vision. And so it kind of started off hard for me because at that time, I was at home with my kids by myself, and I just lost myself. And I don't know if any of you out there can relate to that, but I wasn't that powerful, strong businesswoman anymore that ran 4 departments, won over 1,000 people. I wasn't her. I forgot who that was. And so the little things when I first got started was so hard, like making my first list. I couldn't even think of 10 people, right? And so it was like, I know more than 10 people, but I was so caught up what people would think of me. And then just my first day making my calls, I was in my room alone, in the corner, curled up, and I was calling people, whispering because my own voice scared me. Like, I was that nervous. And to top it off, my first day, okay, I met with 4 prospects. They all said no. And the funny thing is my husband's like, go do this with your girlfriends. And here I am walking back into my house and saying, not even my friends want to do this with me, And so it was tough. It was tough. But, I think back, when I had that moment in time where I could have quit, what was that defining moment for me? It was what I've watched, what I've seen. My mother with 4 kids making $6 an hour, it was tough. And when life got tough, she didn't quit. Right? You know what she did? She got back up, and that's what I decided to do, right? And so I would say that's where things turned for me.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm honored and blessed to be here. Eric, without you and Marina, none of this would have been possible. One of the first books I read in this profession when I didn't want to do it was GoPro, and I decided to be a professional. And for many people that are watching, I know there's a lot of pain. Just you could put 5 people in a room and there's a lot of pain, either in past or present. And I hope today that I can inspire you that you can. 17, I quit school, high school dropout, still to this day. 18, I moved out of my parents' house into a less than 300 square foot house. The rent payment was $225 a month. It was unlivable house. But then at 19, I found my first mentor. And he changed my life. He gave me a business opportunity. But here's the thing I want you to hear. When he said, Ricky, I want you to paint some houses that I'm going to buy and flip, the first thing that came to my mind is probably what's coming to a lot of your mind. I can't do that. I've never painted a house in my life. I'm a high school dropout. I'm living in a 200 square foot house. Look around. He said, Ricky, you can pick today to work for your dreams or work for someone else's, or stay here, nothing will change. I took the leap of faith. God blessed my action. And by the time I was 21, I had 37 employees. I made millions in my 20s, but here's the thing. I wasn't a millionaire. I lost it all. 2009, you heard my beautiful wife say we went bankrupt. It wasn't only depressing, it was humbling, but I didn't even want to live anymore. Imagine living in $1 million home, having $400 in your bank account, going through Toys R Us, and can't buy Christmas for your kids. That day, tears running down my face, I promised myself that I would go out of that Toys R Us and I would choose a different life for my family. And then in 2010, I found my first self-development course, which was from another millionaire. It was Zig Ziglar. And what I found out, I was stinking thinking that me not wanting to live anymore, that I had a purpose. And then fast forward, we found this beautiful profession. But here's the thing, I'm sitting here today. Our first home meeting, I hid in the bathroom. I did not want to get in front of people. I'm standing in this chair today because I decided to watch everything that Eric and Marina put out. I've watched all their interviews. And you know what it did? It gave me the biggest word that you can have, is belief. It gave me perspective what was possible if I kept going. I didn't care if people called it a pyramid scheme. I didn't care what they said about me. I was tired of traditional business. I was tired of construction. And what Eric put in me was belief that I could give my family what I didn't have growing up.
Well done, well done. Everybody give these guys a round of applause so far. Excellent. Let's go to Tony and Sarah Zalecki next.
Oh my goodness. Great stories. Wow, I'm so inspired. Well, I don't have a fast track to success story by any means. I've been in the profession 23 years. This is all I really know. I was 21 years old when I got involved, and I was a nanny. I was the girl that kind of never really fit in. You know, I was always kind of trying to find my way. And people always ask me like, hey, why did you actually get involved in network marketing? And I've told Eric this before. I mean, I got involved in this business, not to make money, but I just wanted to be somebody. It's so humbling to be here. Because like I talked about last night, it's like the vision piece, right? And I know like every single one of you guys, it's like, I know what you're feeling. A lot of you guys are like, I want this so bad. Like, I get it. Like, I totally get it. And I think about the ebbs and flows of my business. And I mean, it's like, there is times these guys talk about getting their car repossessed. My car got repossessed. You know, it's funny though. My car got repossessed, but I guess it was a blonde moment because I actually thought my car got stolen. So I called the cops and I said, oh my God, I think someone stole my car. And they called me back the next day and they said, ma'am, actually your car was repossessed. And I was like, oh my God. But guess what? I kept going. You know, this business is amazing because you know what? It's like, I had to get grit in this business. I had to have tough love. I had to get scrappy. I had to learn how to be resourceful. And I just, you know, all of these ebbs and flows that I had in my business to get me where I am today, I'm so grateful for just all the things that had to happen for me to be here, you know, and I'm just so inspired by that. And so, you know, I look at all of you guys and, you know, I remember going to my very first event that I ever went to. Like Stefania, my sponsor quit 2 weeks in the business. And I remember telling him that I was going to go to a training. And he was like, okay, great. Well, you go and you bring me back the notes, right? And then he quit. But I remember going to an event and I was way up in the bleachers. There were 6,000 people that were there. And I just remember halfway through the presentation, I just started crying. And the reason that I started crying, and some of you guys have maybe already experienced this weekend, some of the different speakers, they really tugged at your heart, is I started crying because I knew that my life was never, ever going to be the same. And I was crying happy tears because I knew that. And I knew that if I just put one foot in front of the other and everything that was happening, like Eric has poured into Tony and I so much over the years. And one of the things that he taught me is he's like, Sarah, every experience, it's not a good experience or a bad experience. It just is an experience. And so for me, I've learned that everything that's happened along the way is just adding to my story. So when things would get crazy in my business, guess what happened? I go, man, that's going to make a great story one day, right? And I just learned to have a fresh perspective on everything, right? And so it's just, for me, it's such a humbling experience to be here because if you do the work, right, and if you are teachable and if you are a student and you just one foot in front of the other, it can happen for you, right? And, you know, it's so awesome because I met my incredible husband here in the business 16 years ago, and here we are, right? It's just, it's a dream come true, really.
And before Tony starts, Sarah, you earned it. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Well done, well done, well done. All right, Tony.
So I was 19 years old. I'm working on my mom's taco truck. And this was before there were any food trucks anywhere, right? Mom and I had a taco truck, and it was called Tacos on Wheels. And we'd go to the bars late at night on Friday night and Saturday night. We'd set up. And one thing we found out is that if you take Mexican food and alcohol, you can really make a lot of money when you mix those two together. And that's what we did. And my sister called us. Got a weekend done. My sister called us on a Monday and says, hey, you got to bring mom and come see this company and hear about this presentation and, come see what I'm doing. So mom and I went, and I found network marketing. I was 19 years old, and I started that night. And one thing that got me that night was they showed a lot about the products and the comp plan and, people making big money and houses and cars and things like that. But there was a story at the end. I was 19, and there was a story from like a waiter bartender. And he's like, yeah, I'm 19 years old. Like, I made $2,000 last month. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just really excited. And I just kind of went, Mom, did you hear that? Like, I can do this. And she looked at me and she said, Tony, you can do this. And I got started. And, I was a shy guy. Back then I was partying a lot because, I had stuff inside me, feelings and things that I didn't know how to handle, that I didn't know how to like work through. So I would party a lot so I wouldn't have to like manage those and deal with those. And I get into network marketing, and I got to learn like how to communicate with people. I got to learn like how to have, a conversation and show them the business and follow up and all the things that we do to create, success here. And I struggled, and I had all this time in, but the money wasn't there. And I'm just like, man, when is this going to work? When is this going to work? And one thing I'm so thankful I did was I was around some people who breathe life into me every day. And they're like, you got to go to training this weekend. You got to go to training this weekend. You got to go to training this weekend. And we would literally get into vans, 8 people, and we'd travel 20 hours from Milwaukee to Florida. And we'd go to a training. And I'd spend money I didn't have. Mom gave me her credit card so that I could consistently go to training and get better and better and better. And I'm just like, when is this going to work? Like, when am I going to have success here? Like, man, I'm watching everybody else. It's not the products. It's not the company. Like, no, it's Tony. And I had to figure it out. I had to figure out what I needed to do to be successful. And I just remember I'm going through this personal development. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm getting better, and I'm like screwing it up. But I was still partying a lot. And there was feelings inside of me that I just didn't know, like, how to get through and work through. And I'm just like, man, this is really hard. And then all of a sudden I was at a training probably 2.5, 3 years in, and it was a week-long training. And I just got like broken down, and it was like, Tony, no, you are good enough. Tony, you are worthy. Tony, like, you know what? You have talent and ability and skills inside of you, and you can make big impact in people. And like, you can go do this. You don't have to keep partying to mask that. You can deal with what you're dealing with, and you can win, and you can soar. And then I started soaring, and I started winning. It was like 3 years into that business, Eric. And then that business went out. It was gone. And I landed up in California. And in 2005, my friend called me at the car dealership because then I was selling cars. He said, hey, we got to go meet this guy, Eric. He's in town. And my friend Sarah said, bring my best guy. You're my best guy. Let's go hear what this guy Eric has to say. He's going to talk about a company tonight. And I remember we showed up late, and we weren't respecting Eric's time. And we showed up, but Eric was amazing, just the most incredible person. And he stayed with us afterwards, and he explained everything, and he told us what was going on. And one of the things I want you to get is that we're in the dream building business. And one thing you did that night, Eric, is that you got us dreaming again. Like, you ignited something in me that wasn't there for about 6-7 years. And I remember Bobby and I were in the parking lot. It was like 2:30 in the morning. We're high-fiving each other like, we're doing this. We're excited. Oh my God, we love Eric Worre. We're going to make so much money. This is going to be so amazing. And then the next day I had all these questions, and Eric was on to the next city. He said, call my cousin Sarah. She'll answer those questions for you. And I called her, and she answered them. She was a pro. She did that third party to a T. And then I'm like, man, this girl sounds kind of hot. And we met the next month, July of 2005 in Chicago, when we had our company launch. And end of October 29th, we were married. So they always say, recruit up. You know, I married my upline. I'm a smart guy. And we ended up building that business together. But that business didn't work out either. And we thought we would be there forever. And then we found something else. And our current company, Eric, has been just the most amazing blessing. It's just been, the team has been incredible. But I think the biggest thing for me was everybody looks at, I'm spending money. I'm spending money. I'm spending money. Oh, it's an expense. Oh, it's an expense. Oh, it's an expense. It's not an expense. It's an investment in you. It's not an expense. And that's the only thing I know that can get you 100% return, is an investment in you. And Eric, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on
Now you
personal
make
development,
millions.
and I've made millions. And one thing that I love about you and Marina is that you guys still spend
Oh my
millions of
gosh.
dollars.
For sure.
And I'm
Take a
like,
look
well,
around.
yeah, exactly. I mean, look, and I just go, wow, if Eric's still spending millions of dollars,
Yeah.
I probably should too.
Well done to both of you. It's super fun. And what some people don't know is Sarah is my cousin. Sarah is my cousin. And to see her as a $1 Million Hall of Fame member with Tony doing a spectacular job in the family, super proud of you. The journey was worth it. Well done, well done. Give them a round of applause. All right, Jesse Lee Ward, everybody sees the rock star. Tell everybody the whole story.
Whole story. First of all, it appears there's a husband somewhere out there looking at me right now.
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. I actually have a question for those of you watching, and I do want to give a shout out to Joshua White in room 26. You were talking about investing in yourself, and the two of them high-fived. So I'm guessing there's some pain there.
Yeah.
And I just want to speak to you before I talk about me, because I have plenty to say. There's like a couple thousand of you we can see right now. Is anybody hurting? Like, this was your last money. It has to work. Like, you can put your hand up. Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda Curtis. Thank you, Bethany Haymaker, Brooke Porch, David Ferguson, Zubar Patel, Morgan. Oh, I got good eyes, but Morgan Malden, like Mele Huddy. Like, we see you. You need to know that. Like, I loved how vulnerable Sarah just was, because we aren't sitting here because it was all good. We're sitting here because we put our pain to purpose. You need to remember that when you're going through it right now, when you're looking through pages and pages and pages and pages of notes, and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like, what do I do? We've all felt that. There's not a person on the stage who hasn't felt that. And there's not a person on this stage as an all-star who doesn't feel that regularly and make themselves continually uncomfortable. The discomfort you feel is your superpower. You look at some of us that are amazing on social media or amazing at presenting or whatever it may be, and you need to understand that we got good at that by being very bad at that.
Hmm.
I almost threw up the first time I did a TikTok, and it was only 2 months ago. But that's why I liked doing it, because I remembered what it was like to be you. For the first time in years. Because I am making millions of dollars a year. I don't get humbled by Facebook. Instagram doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. The idea of having to get creative on TikTok when I thought TikTok was for dancing with your clothes off, I was very wrong. I felt like you might feel right now. So I'm gonna take you back. So I grew up in Middletown, Maryland, very small country town. It's like a golf course now, not when I was there, right? I grew up in poverty. So we were the family, we just didn't have stuff. My clothes didn't fit right. We would get a chicken on Sunday, because if you don't know, at the grocery store, protein is cheaper on Sundays, right? And then you can make can anyone relate to this? You can make chicken fried rice. You can make sweet and sour chicken. You can make cream of chicken. Come on now, y'all. Thank you, Belinda, for raising your hand. And Kaylin. All right, there we go. Dana, Elise. All right, y'all know. Okay, thank you, my people, right? But I had 3 siblings too. So we weren't eating right. I was made fun of because I looked weird, everything. It was a mess. Then 9 years old, I sent my dad to jail. I saw a domestic violence situation many times in my home, but that was the final straw. And then I had to become the leader because I love my mother. Tony Robbins taught me that at GoPro. Thank you for having GoPro. I had all this animosity towards my mother because she was one of those people who probably shouldn't be a mom, but I love her for giving me life. And sent my dad to jail. Had to be the leader of the household. Way too young. And it was a mess. My Nana and granddad raised me. I told y'all this morning, right? Nana came in. Thank God. I'm named after her, by the way. Big Jessie. And it was not good. My childhood was not good. And the only reason I went to college was because I had a full academic ride, because I was smart, because Nana said you got to read books, because we couldn't afford to go on field trips. So I sat in the what is it called? Where do you eat lunch? Lunchroom, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Cafeteria. Sat in the cafeteria because I couldn't pay the $10 to go on the field trip. So I would read. And I would learn, and I would develop, and I would grow. So a love of learning was instilled in me from a very young age because of her. So fast forward, I go to college, full academic ride, 4.0, top of my class. Everyone's proud of me. I get a job in a pathology lab as a research assistant. I worked 3 jobs in college on top of my full academic ride. I was waiting tables in Times Square, selling massage chairs at a Brookstone on 5th Avenue, and I was a nanny. So work ethic has never been a problem, okay, people? Woo! And so then I graduate college, and I moved back home. Nana and granddad were not doing well in health, so I went to take care of them. Working in the lab, it was exactly like most jobs are, right? My money was already spent before the check was here, not because I was being stupid with my money, but because I had a car. Raise your hand if you have a car that you got to pay a payment on, right? Thank you, right, okay. And then you got to have insurance, then you got to pay rent, like no money left. And I was only 22. I'm like, this cannot be what life is about. And then the basement I'm living in, no, I do not have an apartment at this point in time. I know it sounded good, pathology lab, ooh, she good. No. Like, it was not good. I was living in a basement, didn't have my own kitchen, didn't have my own bathroom. I rented a room in a basement. And the person whose basement I was living in said, okay, so we're gonna need an extra $300 a month if you wanna stay living here. And it's gonna be, it's due by the 1st of the month. And I went, oh no, see, that's a problem because I have a job. Like, my job does not pay me more money. So they literally looked me dead in the eye. They say, well, then you need to start one of those at-home business things. I said, what? Like, what? Yeah, no. That introduced me to Google because none of you talked to me. I told you this morning, K through 12, I sat alone. I told you I never fit in. I was always louder or weird or strange or whatever, until network marketing. I wasn't the cool kid. I'm still not the cool kid, just me, right? And so I Googled at-home businesses that make the most money, which ironically in 2020, how to make money from home is like the most Googled thing. People are out there recruiting themselves. You've got to put yourself out there. Thank you, Jackie Sharp, for nodding so crazy over there to that, right? Like, I say that to you because I got in and I went fast. My sponsor also quit. Took her a month though, okay? She held on for a month. But my sponsor quit pretty much right away. I spent 4.5 years in a party plan company, was introduced to network marketing. Did not really know much about that. I was a six-figure earner in party plan, and I realized there was definitely a ceiling there for me. And then in my first network marketing company, somebody said, you gotta go to the six-figure summit. I went, all right, what's the cost? Like how many of you, when your upline said, you got to go to GoPro, you're like, all right, what's that ticket going to cost me? Come on now, let's be honest. Who was, all right, Dorothy Sutton, thank you. August Easley is like, yeah, I was like, what's that going to cost? So I find out it's going to be $750. I'm going to meet some man named Eric Worre, as if I know who that is, okay? I do not know. I'm in my own lane over here doing my thing, right? I don't know about no Eric Worre, man. Well, I get there. And I've always been coachable. I want to learn. I sit in this room, and this man has the audacity. Okay, why you do this to me? Oh, I love it. This is the best story ever. How many of you yesterday, when he said, raise your hand if you're a six-figure earner, looked around your screen? Did anyone do that yesterday? Well, first of all, raise your hand if you're a six-figure a year earner. I'm just curious from what I see with my eyeballs right now. See, there's quite a few of you. Lots of you. All right, Jackie Plunkett and Mariola's a six-figure earner, and Evangeline and Carmelia. Man, my eyes are so good. I was like, let me stand up for that one. That's me. Yeah. Okay. And then it got really depressing really fast because he said, stay standing if you're making 250. Stay standing if you're making 500. Stay standing if you're making 750. I was sitting next to you, by the way. I still remember this conversation because we both stood at 250 like we were awesome. We sucked. So anyway, I'm looking around at 1 million because he goes, stay standing if you're making $1 million a year. And when I say that room was full of people, every color skin, every background, speaking different languages, a row of 18-year-olds from Brazil standing in the row behind me, I went, you bamboozled me, right? This is in the first 5 minutes, y'all. I'm like, wait a minute. There are some children standing behind me right now making $1 million a year. This is not okay. I think they're in Stefania's downline because she's such a good, ridiculous, such a good sponsor, right? I couldn't believe it. And then he says, is there anyone in the room who's made $100 million? And I went, that is not even a possibility. And sure enough, in the back of the room, someone's waving. And me, 26 years old, I'm like, what? How many of you had that moment when he said the 6 people coming on this stage will make $20 million this year? How many of you went, what? Get like a calculator out. Jennifer Charm got her calculator out, right? Heather Frost is like, I was doing the mathematics on that. Crazy. On top of expanding my vision, because my mind was blown, from that moment, I decided whatever came out of his mouth, I was going to do. It didn't have to make sense. It didn't have to make me comfortable. It didn't have to be something I'd done before. Nobody else had to be doing it. But if Eric Worre called me and said, Jessie Lee, do this, I wasn't going to say, well, it was done. It was done. And so I sit here now, 38 months in my company. I don't think I should tell you how much I make because I can see y'all. Somebody might get sick. It's outrageous. And the best part is every time I talk to him, he tells me that I'm not doing enough yet.
It's true.
The audacity.
You know why? Because I know how she's wired. All I got to do is say, hey, somebody's doing a little bit more. And that gets her to move.
He literally made up a fake story the other day. Okay, he's like, I heard there's somebody. I'm like,
somebody's making $9 million a month in network marketing, I told her.
I said, give me a name.
What? And I said, I'm just kidding. I
said, give me a name. I'm going to Google them. I'm going to find out what they're doing. But it's amazing when you hear your mentor's words coming out of your mouth. And I pray that every single one of you finds that person for you that you listen to and you trust and you don't question so that you can be on this stage. Because I know you feel your pain right now. Turn it into power. You deserve to be up here just as much as I do. I'm just a little girl from Middletown, Maryland. Why not you? But you have to do it. You have to do it. You got to feel it and you got to do it.
Give her a big round of applause, everybody. All right, Alfred. You get to close it. Go ahead.
Man, just sitting up here hearing all these stories, man, it brings me back. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment, Eric, with 14 people. And it was just tough, you know. And like he mentioned, network marketing, it gave me the opportunity to dream again. You know, as kids, we all had, you know, you want to drive this car, you want to live in this certain type of house, but we all agree that life happened, yes or no. And we start to say just settling for our dreams and say, well, if I can just pay my bills. How many people know what I'm talking about? If I can just get a job to pay my bills. And then I got introduced to this industry at age 19, right after I graduated high school. And I can tell you, my first 3 years in this industry, Eric, was tough. I made a total of $1,500 in my first 3 years. I remember going to meetings 2 hours before because I used to have to catch the bus. I didn't want to see my prospect see me get off the bus. And right after the meeting, he's like, hey, you finna leave? I'm like, nah, I got another meeting. I didn't want to see for him to see me get on the bus. And, you know, I'm grinding, I'm working, I'm doing everything they tell me to do. And one of the things that I learned while I struggled my first 3 years was I was waiting for my friends to join. And they was waiting for me to be successful, for them to join me. So it was no traction. And then I met a guy named Ashton Henry in my 4th year in this industry. And he showed me something. He said, you got to get past your warm market. And he showed me a trick on social media. And that year, we went to 6 figures. And then the following year, we went to 5 times that. And every year since then has been a 7-figure year for us. And one of the biggest things I wanted to do, Eric, was to retire my mom. Mm-hmm. And to be able to tell her that she don't have to worry about a mortgage. And to go from living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 14 people to being able to build your own home from the ground up. I'm telling you, wherever you're at in the world, whatever you're struggling with, I struggled for 3 years. I went to every meeting, I invested the money, but I kept going. And if you're struggling, if you're on this call and you say, man, I come to all of these meetings, I'm not getting results. And one of the things I look at, Eric, is when people go to college, we could agree that they go for 4 years, yes or no? Mm-hmm. Are they getting paid? Are they showing up? Are they developing the skills? And that's what I looked at my first 3 years, was developing the skills. And in that 4th year, when you graduate college, you become a senior. You walk that stage and you get that diploma. It's called an MBA. And if you go hard in this industry for 4 years and you do the work and you follow your mentor, your 4th year, if you do what you need to do, you can get that MBA. And in our industry, Eric, it's called a massive bank account. And that's what we've been able to accomplish with great leaders around the company, man. So I'm excited to be on this stage at 28 and be around you. I learned so much from you. GoPro, that book changed my life. And being at all of these events, man, it really just took things to the next level.
Well, give Alfred a big round of applause, everybody. All right. We're going to do a lightning round. We got to go quick. So I want each of you to tell everyone, what advice would you give a younger version of your network marketing self? If, you know, the first day that you joined, if you can go back and talk to that person and tell them what they need to do in order to be successful faster, what advice would you give them? Start with you, John.
Okay, well, number one, save your money. I wish I spent everything initially, but the biggest thing for me is you have to have that belief, right? So anything you can do to build your belief is going to make you more successful, right? So investing in yourself, as you had talked about, because the belief is influence. And when I first entered, I didn't have that belief. I was iffy. And people don't buy you unless you know what you know. So
build your belief, invest in yourself. Stefania.
So I was really broken. You know, people see me today, oh, her Instagram, I could never be like her because of the dresses and the shoes. I was not this person when I started. I was broken. I didn't believe in myself. I was insecure. And every time I had to do a video or a webinar, I felt terrible. I felt like throwing up as well. And I remember that after I prayed over it all the time, I would put on, and I said this at the Most Powerful Women Network Marketing, so I'm not making this up. I would put on the song Eye of the Tiger, and I would just go like, Believe in yourself. You can do it. You're better than everyone. You can be the strongest. You can help other people. You can empower other people. And just go. And you know what, Stefania? I want to tell you that one day you're going to be on the same stage where Rocky Balboa, thanks to Eric Worre, stood. That's what I tell. Believe bigger, be stronger, always.
All right. All right. What advice would you give to an earlier version of your network marketing self?
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Okay, so what I would say is just understanding the difference between desire and commitment, right? Because when you desire something, you only do it when circumstances permit. But when you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results, right? And so for me, it's just making that commitment. That day when I sat down with 4 people and everyone said no, and I came home and my husband saw me with big tears running down my face. He actually put his arms around me and he gave me permission to quit. And for me, it's just making that decision, understanding what commitment truly is. And so for you guys out there, I would say, yeah, you have to have that Rocky mentality, right? When all odds are against you and your back is against the ropes, are you going to continue swinging? Are you going to continue fighting for your dreams? Because that's what's on stake here, right? Everybody has a moment in time. Esther 4:14 says, perhaps this is the moment that you were created. Maybe this is your moment. But you have to be committed. It cannot be a desire.
Commitment. Love it. Ricky.
Yeah, so for me, it would be pull, drag, tape up, tie up, and force my people to come to GoPro. The pandemic or epidemic in network marketing is people quit too fast. I'm sitting here, I watched his videos over and over and over. I can recite them. But I watched his videos and said, one day I'm going to meet Eric. I never thought I'd be sitting here talking in front of Eric. But I did have enough belief from watching him, from watching these $1 million earners on everything he put out. And I said, I'll meet him one day. But I only did that because I force-fed my mind. I shut the TV off. I grinded. When I was knocked down onto the mat, I got back up. But the only way I got back up is because I had belief in the profession. And if you don't have belief, then you're quit easily. And that is what's wrong with the profession. It is possible for everyone. The compensation plan didn't say, Ricky, you're a high school dropout. You can't make millions. Right. I said I made millions when I was younger. I lost it all because I wasn't a millionaire here. Right. This man in Marina made me a millionaire. So today I'm sitting here because I'm a millionaire. But you have to understand you're going to have a pit experience. Joseph was showed his dream and the next day was thrown in a pit. But understand this. He held on to his dream 13 years in prison. You might feel like you're in prison today, but one day, if you hold on to your dream, you'll save your family's life.
Yep.
That's what happened with Joseph. He fed his family that was going to starve. So I want you to think for a minute. Renee Taylor, close your eyes and think about your dream. Think about if you held on to your dream long enough. Now envision a single mom coming home to 4 kids that can barely feed them. Because you kept and you held on to your dream, she's able to feed her kids. Imagine the ripple effect that you cannot see here, that you will see one day in heaven. So that's what I would do. I would equip people so they would go faster and understand this. By me watching Eric, I knew the key to network marketing was momentum. The faster I could go, the more I worked my butt off. I worked my butt off 250 hours a week and we'd make $200. How did I keep going? With this. I can tell you the how all the time, all the time. But if you don't believe what I say, you won't keep going.
Belief again. Tony, you got the ability to go back in time, talk to a younger version of yourself. First day he joins, what advice do you give him?
I would tell young Tony, stop bringing your mess into your business. All your gossip and drama and trauma and negativity, your partying. No one needs to see that. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to be a part of that. People are here because, they want something better for themselves, their family, and they're excited about something. And for me, Eric, it was my partying, and I had to get that right. And I had to figure out, I got to get sober. because I'm blowing up groups. I'm taking people into a business and they're dreaming again, and then I'm pushing them away because of Tony's actions. And people watch you all the time. People are always watching what you're doing, what you're posting. And then the second part of that would be more vulnerable. Tell the story. Be the light for people. There's so many people that have those insecurities, those struggles. Work through them, personal develop, get better, and then tell the story to as many people as you can on where you were at, what was holding you back, what was causing you not to grow, not to be the best version of yourself, and what you did to overcome that, and tell that story with the biggest microphone you have and tell it to the world so they can all hear it and they all can get better and they can all go get their dreams.
Love it. Sarah?
Stop second guessing yourself. I did that for a long time. Even though I'd go to the trainings, I'd go to the events, I would go back and I would try to apply and I would take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back because I was always second guessing. And I think, I tell people all the time, I heard someone say earlier about intuition, right? Intuition is your superpower. And, I always tell people like your gut is always right. And, not being so caught up in the imperfection, right? Or the perfection of wanting to do it always right. And, I think too, for me, is I know a lot of us are really driven and I'm very driven, but I also learned how to relax and have more fun. I wish I had way more fun in this business in the beginning, but I took it so dang serious. And yes, I understand it's serious and we want to make money and make a difference. But the moment that I just kind of released the reins of that, like everything changed. And, for me, even with the second guessing that happened, what kept me around is that I stayed close to the fire, right? That's why I think for myself, like the mentorship of Eric and Marina is so impactful and made such a huge difference inside of our life is that, even through the times that we second guessed, because we stayed so close to the fire and in everything that we did, what happened eventually is we became the fire.
Mm-hmm.
We became the fire, right? So please don't second guess yourself. Take the information that we all hear this weekend and just go do it and do it and do it. And
love it.
The results will come.
2 more quickly. Jessie Lee.
First of all, you said something at a GoPro, Eric, and you said, too many of you have given yourself another option. And I promise you, those of you who are like, oh, I'm struggling, it's because you're thinking about how you can go Uber and you're not working your business. You're thinking about how you can go deliver food for Uber, or I said Uber, but Uber Eats, Grubhub, whatever, DoorDash, instead of working your business. You're thinking about your job instead of your future. So stop that. This is the option. Go all in, put all of your chips in and run with this is number 1. Number 2, I need y'all to be yourselves. I played down Jessie Lee for way too long. And there are some of you, like raise your hand if you want to make $1 million a year. I'm just curious. I want to see. All right then. So then stop playing like this much diluted version of yourself. This is not serving anybody. You know what you want. You know what you're passionate about. You know what makes your heart race. You know what sets your soul on fire. You know what keeps you up at night. It is not Ubering. It's not. So you need to be the 100% version of yourself. Stop caring about what your second grade best friend said about you. Stop caring about what your mother-in-law, you don't even talk to her anyway, has to say about you. You do you. You do you. Everyone's going to watch. They're going to judge you anyway. Do it anyway. Make yourself proud. And I could go on all day. I'm done.
Love it. Alfred, advice to your younger version of yourself.
What I would say, Eric, is fail forward and fail fast. My first company, man, we went 17 consecutive months without receiving a commission check. And people ask me, man, how you kept going through all of that? It was a quote that I read that said, success is going from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. So I came into that. You would never even know that I wasn't making commissions. I'll show up at the event, didn't even have the money to get in the door, but I had belief, I had vision. And that's where I built my foundation at, Eric. I failed and I learned and I got better. So that would be my thing. Fail forward, fail fast, and do it scared.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Give your love, show your love to this group of incredible all-stars. Give them a big round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Mwah, 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 mwah.